Welcome back to Fireside Chats. I'm Ian Group. This is your place for conversations with entrepreneurs, investors, and educators helping you achieve financial independence. This week, we talk about investing and gender. Now, Fidelity did a study a couple years ago all about how women are better investors than men. And I got my friend Liz Schwartz on this week, aka Femme Funds, on Instagram and TikTok. Liz shares her own experiences, which are super eye-opening, and I'm excited for you to hear the episode. If you're not already subscribed and you feel like getting updates for when I post a new episode, which is weekly, click that subscribe button below. Now on to the show. Cue the music. Hey Liz, how are you?
Hey, doing well. How's it going?
Great. Well, welcome to Fireside Chats. We're Insta buddies and now buddies in real life. So this is great. Why don't you just start by introducing yourself and telling everybody what you're all about and what you're doing online?
So I'm Elizabeth and I am the founder of Femme Funds. I teach women how to invest in the stock market.
That's fantastic. I think that's incredibly necessary. There are definitely stereotypes in the world that finance and investing is more of a male-centric domain. But so I read this Fidelity study that was talking about women being better investors than men.
Yeah.
Assuming you know the same thing. You've heard this. Okay.
Definitely. I also am very, very familiar with this study. And it's so interesting because at the end of the day, investing and money management as a topic is very much a game of psychology. And that is the difference between what separates men and women as success in their investing. Men in general are more risky, whereas women are more risk averse. And because of that, because we're less active and we tend to be on the safer side, we don't really gamble as much and trade as frequently, we actually end up outpacing men by almost 1% in our returns. So it was a great study.
And 1% is substantial. I mean, that 1%
Definitely.
Compounding over many years, that adds up.
Yeah. 20, 30, 40 plus years, you're talking tens of thousands, if not hundreds or more.
More.
Thousands.
Yeah, it could be more.
Yeah.
So I think that's an incredible stat and one that's eye-opening, or it should be eye-opening for a lot of people. Walk me through how you were inspired to start working with women on investing.
So you and I actually didn't speak about it before. I did experience something called financial infidelity. I'm not sure if you're aware of this terminology, but that was something Okay, so financial infidelity, it's essentially cheating about money with your partner.
Wow.
So it's the leading cause of divorce. And it's actually, I read a study recently where about 30% of Americans admit committing some sort of act of financial infidelity towards a partner. Once I experienced this, I was super, super on top of my money game, everything in terms of like money management to investing. And then during the market crash of 2020, when the pandemic hit, I was the only one talking about it with my girlfriends. And then slowly, I just started teaching everyone individually. And that's how everything evolved. I basically felt called to bring this knowledge and to empower women with the confidence and skills that I feel are just, lifelong skills that are so necessary. And that's really my mission and what I'm all about.
That's fantastic. Do you mind talking about what happened, or is it a sore subject?
I mean, it's not really a sore subject, I think it's more so as a learning experience. Luckily, I was not married, but I guess very, very long story short, I was in a relationship for a few years. And this person was an American. Mm-hmm. And so at a certain point, his visa expired and we did long distance between Europe and the US. And then I quit my job, left New York and my life to go live over there. And it took a long time to get my papers in order. Mm-hmm. We had agreed about, the financing terms prior to my arrival. And then when I got there, everything kind of just blew up in my face. And I no longer felt like this was the person I could, seriously consider marrying. I felt really unsafe about, becoming a mother and pregnant and losing my job. I didn't feel any financial security. And honestly, I felt super betrayed because I had just, literally left my entire world to see this partnership, which again, after so many years, it's like the last thing you expect was something of this nature. And that's really it. It wasn't so traumatic in, I guess, like the grand scheme of things in comparison to what you hear. But it was pretty traumatic for me personally.
I'm not in the slightest glad that it happened, but at least it happened earlier on in life, prior to marrying this person or building a family with them.
100%.
You got.
So one of my clients, actually, this is probably the craziest story, and I even spoke about it on my Instagram stories the other day, but she actually, her ex-husband now stole all of their wedding money and put it in like a offshore hidden account.
Wow.
And she didn't notice until 2 years into the marriage and was like questioning why they didn't have money to go on vacation, or why they didn't have this or that, why they couldn't put a down payment on it for a home. He was just explaining things to her, but she didn't actually see anything until she started digging around and discovered this offshore account with their wedding money, their fund. Crazy. Needless to say, it's an ex-husband now for that reason.
Yeah. For me, when I got married, I was so excited about, I got married back in 2015. I was so excited and I think my wife and we might've had joint accounts maybe even a little before we got married because we moved in together.
Yeah.
We knew we were going to go down that path. So we started to consolidate a little bit, but I was excited to bring it all together and do the finances and make these decisions together. But I guess there are a lot of couples that just keep it separate. I mean, what's your experience and what do you see with the people that you work with?
I mean, everyone is mixed. I have some clients that would prefer to keep it separate just for security. And at the end of the day, I do believe it's important for everyone to have some sort of security fund. Yeah. I guess like an emergency savings account, but
like as a couple or as an individual?
I think also as an individual, like I'm also at the stage, like I'm recently engaged. So, and these are conversations definitely, thank you. So that I'm having as well. But I feel like it's important that whatever you had before, you can kind of like leave, like just enough that's a security, like savings fund for each individual. I do believe in the union and I believe in partnership. And I want, my fiance, my future husband, I want us to be a team, like through thick and thin type of thing. So I want to combine finances, but I still want to keep like a small account that I've had that I probably will never touch again, but just have it. I'm not talking life-changing money, but I'm talking if, let's say, God forbid something happens, I want to have a security blanket to know I can afford a plane ticket if I need to leave the country. You know what I mean?
I think it's totally reasonable. And it comes down to just what you want, your personal preference.
Exactly.
There's no right way to do it.
Exactly. But I do think it's kind of strange to be married and have two separate accounts and like switch off who pays for lunch, who pays for breakfast. Like at this point, like your family. And I feel like you should be treating everything as one, like no secrets, Yeah. So I do believe in that, but I feel like whatever was yours individually prior to the actual wedding, you can leave it like that. Like, for example, if you inherit a property or let's say an inheritance from your parents, then, I don't really feel like your spouse has the right to that unless you guys agree to that. I mean, I guess it's so complicated, right? But I feel like whatever was yours individually before is yours, and whatever is yours that you earn as a team is equal. Does that make sense?
Yes. And then throw kids in the mix if that's what you want, and it gets even more complicated. So
I have a few years.
Yeah. Take your time. I think that's all incredibly interesting. So let's tie this in with investing. So you had this financial infidelity happen, and now COVID hits. You had people coming to you and talking to you about investing. Did you find that a lot of your friends and family were not investing?
So I found that all the men that I was friends with, either through childhood, also because I'm from the suburbs of New York City. So a lot of the men or the parents were working on Wall Street. I feel like they have been investing since high school, like all the guys I grew up with. And then same thing with university. But none of my girlfriends were really investing unless maybe they had a family member who also was working on Wall Street and kind of managed that for them. But they were, very rare. They were maybe like 1 out of 20 girls that I knew.
Wow.
And the majority of my girlfriends actually, they're all quite successful, I would say. They're all intelligent, but they just didn't grow up with the financial knowledge. Like no one really held their hand and taught them. And they all wanted to learn. They knew the value in it, but they, there was a fear factor. They felt like it was super complicated. They felt like it was risky. Oh, like the world is ending because the pandemic hit and we don't know what will be. And then what do you know? We had the craziest unprecedented market in the last year.
Yep.
And now even this year, it's like, what the hell is going on?
Right. How are you changing that? I mean, what discussions did you have with people? And I guess it led you to be here today, right?
I think the conversation really started with like, what are you afraid of? What's stopping you? Why do you even want to build wealth in the first place? And what can we do to knock down that wall? So something I really talk about is just starting slow, like you would with anything. Like it's a marathon, not a sprint. You don't start off by running the full, how long is it? Like 20 miles or something?
26,
yes,
22.
Yeah, exactly. You don't start off running the 26 miles the first time you go for a run, you build it up.
Yep.
So I would always advise to start super small with, let's say like $50 a month that they won't cry about if they lose, and then build it up over time once they build the confidence and see what happens.
Have you had any success stories or people started investing because they talk to you now?
Oh, for sure. I actually just met with a client yesterday. She happens to also be my vet. We actually took a look at her portfolio together yesterday. And since she started about a year ago, and even with the dips right now, she's still up 25% in 1 year. And that's a very healthy. I mean, it's more than healthy of a return. And, she's super excited. And just, at this point, it's no longer, oh, I want to go spend my money on anything else. I would rather make my money work for me because I see that it's possible.
Was she not investing before? Was this all? Wow. So that's significant. She can see the power. She was
really scared, actually. She was probably one of the clients that feared the stock market the most. And she was someone who had a very, I don't know how to explain it, just a fear of overspending and not having enough money, generally speaking. She lived very frugally compared to her earnings. So she was basically like hiding her money under the mattress type of girl. If you know those people, just hoarding it at the bank and just trying to build.
What did you tell her to get over that fear? How did you guys come to move past it?
Actually, we started off by buying one share of one company.
Oh, so like dipped your toes in the water.
Exactly. Okay. And then the next month she bought another share, and then so on and so forth. And then soon she started buying multiple shares each month. That's all it takes. Just one share of one company.
Was it something that she like believed in? Was it like a company like Apple because she has an iPhone or
something of the sort, just a different one?
Okay, cool. Yeah. You don't have to say any specifics.
Something she uses on a weekly basis. So a company she's very familiar with and has, known about and used for, let's say, the majority of her life.
Cool. The reason I bring it up is I think if anybody's listening and they're in a similar position, they can say, that's actionable, an actionable tip on how they can get started. You don't have to be some expert. You can see a company that you with products that you use or that you believe in. You say, this is going to be around long-term. I love it. And that can be where you start.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for the chat. It was great to meet you face to face. And why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
On Instagram and TikTok at Femme Funds.
Amazing. Okay. Well, I really appreciate you being here, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. I also appreciate the time.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. But listen, the best way to remember something is to write it down. So go to the comments, write down what you learned, and if you want bonus points, go out in the world and do it. Until next time, I'm Ian Group. Peace.